She drove a pencil hard into the photograph. The man standing beside her let out a blood-curdling scream. The pencil had pierced straight through the palm of the man in the picture. When she pulled the pencil out, an identical hole appeared in the man's real palm. Just the day before, the same man had lit the corner of a photo with a lighter. As the flame spread to his girlfriend's arm in the picture, the woman's real arm burst into flames out of nowhere. Everyone present was petrified by this utterly unearthly sight. Her friends scrambled for a fire extinguisher and sprayed it frantically. But eerily, the extinguisher's dry powder did nothing at all. The photo kept burning. Just as another girl started to smoke from her body, the female lead, who had watched the entire nightmare unfold, finally realized what was happening. She rushed to put out the fire on the photo, and the second the flames on the paper went out, the fire on the girl's body vanished instantly. Even more terrifying, the burned parts of the photo slowly repaired themselves, as if mocking the ignorance and powerlessness of the humans before it. And it all traces back to an antique camera. Its purpose was never to take pictures, it was to create death portraits for every person it captured. Our protagonist, Lisa, is a high school student working part-time at an antique shop to earn money for her tuition. When the shop owner learned by chance that Lisa loved photography, he secretly bought her a camera made in 1972 as a gift. Seeing such a rare vintage camera, Lisa was equal parts thrilled and uneasy. On the back of the camera, the name of its original owner was engraved. To test if the camera still worked after all these years, Lisa pressed the shutter and took a photo of the shop owner.
Smile.
While waiting for the photo to develop, Lisa headed home. Unable to contain her excitement, she couldn't wait to take the camera out again to snap a picture of her beloved dog. But her usually calm dog cowered back in terror the second it saw the lens. The moment she was about to press the shutter, her best friend Anna burst through the door, interrupting the shot, a split-second decision that indirectly saved the dog's life. As they chatted, Anna told her about a party that night and invited her to come along. But Lisa had always been a loner, and had no interest in big, noisy parties. She was just about to turn it down when Anna told her that Jack, her longtime crush, would also be there. Lisa's attitude flipped in an instant. That night, she put on a dress, headed to the party with her friends, and brought the camera along with her. On the way there, Lisa checked the photo she'd taken of the shop owner. Eerily, alongside the owner, there was a faint, blurry dark figure that hadn't been there when she took the shot. But that unsettling detail was quickly forgotten in her friends' laughter and chatter. Meanwhile, the shop owner locked up for the night as usual. He went back inside and flipped through a set of vintage photos set to go up for sale. As he watched the projection, he noticed a human silhouette reflected on the back of the curtain. Even creepier, the figure was slowly moving. Sensing something was very wrong, he grabbed a nearby hammer and walked slowly toward the curtain. There was nothing behind it, and he let out a relieved sigh. He turned around to check if the projector was malfunctioning, completely unaware that a figure had materialized right behind him, accompanied by a terrifying, guttural snarl. Elsewhere, Lisa arrived at the party. Amid the flashing lights and blaring music, she weaved through the crowd in her Little Red Riding Hood costume, and finally came face to face with Jack, the boy she'd been pining for. They talked for the first time, and hit it off right away. That's when Jack noticed the camera in Lisa's hand. He picked it up, curious, and examined it. As they talked, they decided to take a photo together, only to be interrupted by a group of other people who walked up. Wanting to capture the moment, John asked the group to take a photo together. But Lisa was too shy to get up, so in the end, only 3 of them posed for the shot. But no matter what angle they tried, their phone wouldn't focus. Seeing this, Lisa pulled out her camera and snapped a photo of the 3 of them to preserve the moment. The second the shutter clicked, Anna jumped into the frame, turning it into a 4-person photo. Lisa's eyes went wide as she stared at something behind them, though no one else saw a thing. But as the photo developed, the happy, carefree image on it once again eased her worries. Nearby, Lucy had grown fascinated by the rare camera. She studied it closely, then without a second thought, pressed the shutter and took a photo of herself. While waiting for the photo to develop, sirens wailed outside. They all rushed downstairs to see what was happening. The police were there to investigate the shop owner's murder, and since Lisa was the last person to have seen him alive, she immediately became their prime suspect. She was taken to the police station for questioning, and was utterly devastated and disbelieving when she heard the news of the owner's death. She'd seen him safe and sound just hours before, how could he be dead so suddenly? But with no solid evidence against her, the sheriff had no choice but to let her go for the time being. When Lisa got home that night, her unease only grew. She pulled out the photo she'd taken of the shop owner to look at it again. But strangely, the dark figure that had been in the photo earlier was now gone without a trace. When she looked at the photos from the party, the figure had moved, and was now standing right behind Lucy. But why wasn't it in the 4-person group photo? Lisa tried to call Lucy to warn her, but Lucy refused to believe the camera or the photos had anything to do with it, so Lisa put her phone down. Meanwhile, Lucy had arrived back home. She jumped out of her skin at the sight of a figure in her room, only to realize it was just her favorite skeleton mannequin. She thought nothing of it, moved the mannequin to the window, then turned and headed down to the basement to sort through some storage. But just then, she heard a noise from the ceiling above, like someone walking around upstairs. Sensing danger, she rushed back up to the living room to check, but the house was empty. What she didn't notice was that the mannequin had moved. Where there had once been 2 silhouettes, there was now a third. In her panic, she tripped and fell to the floor. She scrambled to her feet and stared ahead, but as the lights flickered wildly, there was nothing there. She just breathed a sigh of relief when a pair of hands suddenly reached for her. Lucy was killed instantly. The next day, Lisa got a call from Anna, telling her that Lucy had died in a freak accident. All these strange, horrific events made Lisa more and more convinced that the camera and the photos were to blame. She pulled out the photos again, and sure enough, the dark figure that had been behind Lucy was gone. It had moved into the 4-person group photo. It was clear, the 4 people in that photo were the next victims. Desperate to stop more tragedies from happening, Lisa tried to smash the camera to pieces. But it was no use, an invisible force sent her flying backward. And the camera remained completely unharmed. With no time to waste, Lisa rushed to school to tell the others what she discovered. She pointed to the dark figure in the photo, telling them it was the thing hunting them, and that anyone photographed by the camera would die one by one. But no one believed her. How could a camera kill someone? In disbelief and frustration, John grabbed one of the photos and lit it on fire. Instantly, the girl next to him, Sheila, burst into flames as well, and not even a fire extinguisher could put the fire out. Thankfully, Lisa realized what was happening and put out the fire on the photo just in time, saving Sheila's life. After that, the group had no choice but to believe the camera was cursed. Determined to uncover the truth, Lisa and Jack went to the antique shop to look for clues about the camera. They split up. Lisa snuck inside to search, while Jack stood watch outside. But barely a minute after Lisa went inside, Jack heard a noise coming from the camera, like something was struggling inside it. Meanwhile, Lisa made her way through the dark rooms, and finally spotted the camera's original box on top of a cabinet. But as she reached for it, a snarl echoed from behind the shelf. As the dark figure loomed closer, Lisa turned and ran. In her panic, she tripped and fell. The figure closed in, reaching to pull back the curtain she was hiding behind, but accidentally touched a blast of hot steam and recoiled, yanking its arm back. In that moment, Lisa saw its weakness. While the creature wailed in agony, Lisa grabbed the box and escaped through a ventilation duct. Jack rushed to help her, and the two sped away in the car. On the drive, Jack told her what he'd figured out. The reason the monster was after Lisa too was that she was also in that group photo from the party, caught in a reflection in the glass. She was just as much a target as the others. Elsewhere, Sheila, who'd been burned in the fire, woke up in her hospital bed. John left to find a nurse to help her. The second he was gone, Sheila got a call from Lisa, warning her that she was in grave danger, that a monster was hunting all of them, and telling her not to stay alone under any circumstances. Sensing something was wrong, Sheila frantically pressed the call button, but eerily, the entire hospital was empty. When no one came, she got out of bed to look for a nurse herself. Suddenly, an invisible figure appeared, and dragged Sheila away. Meanwhile, John returned to the room with a nurse, only to find the bed empty. A pool of blood sat on the floor, leading straight to the closed curtain. John walked slowly toward the curtain and pulled it back, but there was still nothing there. But when he turned around, he was met with the sight of Sheila's body, turned into a life-size doll. Lisa and Jack rushed to the hospital soon after, and learned of Sheila's death. This only confirmed Lisa's worst fears, but John blamed it all on her. He screamed that Sheila was dead because of her, that none of this would have happened if she'd never brought that cursed camera to the party. Determined to keep more people from getting hurt, Lisa and Jack dug into the camera's past. Inside the box, they found a slip of paper with a police case number on it, for a murder that happened in 1974. The camera had been the key piece of evidence. With this lead, they went to the library to look up everything that had happened in 1974. After hours of searching, they finally found the newspaper from that day. In 1974, a man named Roland had kidnapped and murdered 3 children. He'd worked as a photography teacher at Lisa's high school, and the initials engraved on the back of the camera were his. He'd used this very camera to photograph the entire torture and murder of the 3 children, before he was shot and killed by police just before he could be arrested. With the truth uncovered, the remaining 4 targets met at a diner, where Lisa told them everything she'd learned. When John heard it all, he panicked. If they couldn't find a way to stop this, they were just waiting to die. As he ranted, he grabbed the camera, desperate to figure out how the monster worked. The others tried to stop him, and in the scuffle, John accidentally pressed the shutter, taking a photo of himself. As the photo developed, the dark figure moved from the group photo into John's solo shot. It was clear, John was the next victim. That's when the group realized the terrible truth. You could extend your own life by taking a photo of someone else, passing the curse on to them. Desperate to survive, John grabbed the camera and aimed it at Lisa, ready to take her photo. In that split second, Anna grabbed a pencil and drove it hard into John's photo. Instantly, John screamed in agony as an identical wound appeared in the palm of his hand. Furious, John lunged at Anna, but accidentally attacked a police officer who was nearby. He was promptly arrested and locked up in a jail cell. Desperate to save John, Lisa did some digging online and found Roland's widow. they immediately drove to her home. But the second they arrived, John was attacked in his cell. The monster teleported straight into the locked room and killed him with a knife. Meanwhile, Roland's widow told Lisa the full, tragic story of what had happened all those years ago. In 1974, Roland had bought the camera as a Christmas gift for his daughter. From the moment she got it, she was obsessed with taking photos, and carried it with her everywhere she went. Her personality slowly changed, too. She grew withdrawn, avoided people, and was bullied and isolated by her classmates at school. One night, her older kids lured her out, forced her to take explicit photos with the camera, and then spread the pictures all around the school. When Roland saw the photos, he was consumed with grief and rage, and swore to make the kids who'd taken them pay. So he kidnapped the 4 kids, took them to the school's darkroom, tortured and photographed them, and killed 3 of the 4. But just as he was about to kill the 4th child, police arrived on the scene and shot Roland dead. He fell into a pool of water in the darkroom, his vengeful spirit merging with the camera. He would never rest until the final child had paid for what they'd done. Before they left, the widow gave Lisa a photo of the 4th and final child. Maybe, she said, if they found this person, they could put Roland's spirit to rest for good. At the same time, they got the news of John's death. The next victims would be the remaining 3, Lisa, Jack, and Anna. With no time to lose, Lisa called Anna and told her to meet them at the school immediately. They first tracked down the 1974 case files, and after comparing the photos, they made a shocking discovery: the 4th child was now the town's sheriff. But they didn't notice a figure slowly approaching from behind.
What are you doing here?
The sheriff had caught Anna on her way in, and learned exactly what Lisa was planning. Lisa tried again and again to explain that she was only trying to save lives, but the sheriff refused to believe her. Mid-rant, Jack grabbed the camera and took a photo of the sheriff, hoping to force Roland to appear and take his final revenge. But after the photo was taken, the sheriff finally told them the real truth. The 4 kids weren't the monsters Roland was. He was the true deviant, the one who'd taken countless explicit photos of his own daughter. That night, the 4 kids had gone to the house to rescue the girl, only to be caught by Roland. To cover up his horrific crimes, he'd hunted them down and killed them. The second he finished speaking, the lights went out. A sharp, shrill shutter sound echoed through the room, and Roland began to close in. His physical form materialized, and he picked up the photo of the sheriff from the floor. The sheriff fired his gun at him repeatedly, but the bullets did nothing. Suddenly, the lights flickered wildly, sparks bursting from the fixtures. Enraged, Roland tore the photo in 2, and the sheriff's body was ripped in half right along with it. Lisa, Jack, and Anna turned and ran, but in the chaos, they were separated. Lisa and Anna hid in a bathroom. To protect themselves, Lisa had a sudden idea. She turned on all the hot showers, filling the entire room with thick, hot steam. Sure enough, the second Roland came into contact with the hot steam, he let out a blood-curdling scream and dared not take another step forward. With no way to reach them, Roland vanished, turning his sights to Jack. Lisa told Anna to stay hidden in the bathroom and not leave, then headed out alone to find Jack. She crept silently down the hallway, and found Jack, terrified out of his mind, hiding there. That's when Lisa came up with a plan. She would take a photo of Roland himself with the cursed camera, then burn the photo to destroy his vengeful spirit once and for all. The 2 immediately set off to retrieve the camera, but just as they found it, Roland appeared and dragged Jack away into the darkness. Lisa fought with everything she had to get him back, but it was no use. Jack was pulled into the blackness. In her grief and desperation, Lisa had another sudden idea. She turned the camera on herself and took a photo. Instantly, Roland was drawn to her, and began slowly making his way toward her. What followed was a final, life-or-death showdown between Lisa and Roland. Lisa ran for her life, all the way down to the basement darkroom, but as she rushed down the stairs, she tripped, and the camera went flying across the floor. She scrambled to her feet, and as the basement lights flickered on, she realized with a chill that this was the very room where Roland had tortured and murdered his victims. But there was no time to think about that. She reached for the camera, only for Roland to grab her by the throat and lift her off the ground. But in that final, desperate moment, she grabbed the camera, and the second before he could kill her, she pressed the shutter, successfully taking a photo of Roland. But when the photo developed, 2 of Lisa's fingers were also in the frame. To survive, Lisa ignored the searing pain, crumpled the photo into a ball, and squeezed it as hard as she could. With every twist of the photo, Roland was racked with agony, collapsing to the floor. But it wasn't enough to destroy him. The photo unfolded and restored itself, and Roland rose to his feet once more. Lisa backed away frantically, pulled out a lighter, and set the photo on fire. Instantly, Roland's entire body burst into flames, and he let out a scream of unbearable agony. As the photo burned to ash, Roland's spirit dissolved into smoke and vanished forever. In the end, Lisa, Anna, and Jack were reunited, embracing each other tightly. The dark figure in their group photo was gone for good. To make sure no one else would ever be hurt by the cursed camera again, Lisa took it to the ocean and sank it into the deepest, darkest part of the sea. And with that, everything returned to peace. That's the end of the story.